Jerusalem violence deadly airstrike hits Gaza after rocket attacks. Israel has launched airstrikes against militant targets in the Gaza Strip after rockets were fired from the territory towards Jerusalem. The Hamas-run Palestinian Health Ministry in Gaza said 20 people, including children, has died in the strikes. In Jerusalem, the rocket fire caused Israel's parliament to be evacuated as sirens sounded. Tensions between Israel and the Palestinians spiraled in recent days. Gaza Hamas rulers has threatened to strike after hundreds of Palestinians were injured in clashes with Israel police in Jerusalem on Monday. Israel said it had killed at least 3 Hamas militants. We have started, and I repeat, started to attack military targets in Gaza. Israel military spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Concrius told reporters. Hamas sources told the BBC a commander of the Ejedel al-Qassam brigades, Mohammed Abdul Fayyad, has been killed. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Hamas had crossed a red line and that Israel would respond with great force. US Secretary of State Anton Blinken said Hamas needed to end the rocket attacks immediately, adding all sides need to de-escalate. The past few days has seen the worst violence in Jerusalem for years, with more than 300 Palestinians wounded in confrontation with Israel police outside the Al-Aqsa Mosque on Monday. A planned march by Israel nationalists, which was due to pass through Muslim areas of East Jerusalem Old City, was called off, fears it could stoke unrest. The Jerusalem Day event marks Israel's capture of East Jerusalem, home to the Old City and holy sites, in 1967, and usually see hundreds of flag-waving Israeli youth make their way through the Muslim quarter via Damascus Gate, chanting and singing patriotic songs. It is regarded by many Palestinians as deliberate provocation. This year's march would also have taken in the final days of Islamic holy month of Ramadan. The latest violence follows days of clashes between Palestinians and Israel police in the nearby Sheikh Jarrah district of East Jerusalem, with the possible eviction of Palestinian families from their homes, thereby Jewish settlers a focal point for Palestinian anger. Israel's Supreme Court has been due to hold a hearing in the long-running case on Monday, but the session was postponed because of the trouble. Fears had mounted that it would be a tense day in Jerusalem, and so it turned out. The confrontation started first thing in the morning. As I passed the old city walls beneath the glittering dome of the rock, heavily armed Israel police had entered the compound and were firing volleys of stun grenades at Palestinians who were throwing stones and other objects at them. Ambulances screamed past, ready to ferry away the wounded. The site, holy to Muslims and Jews, lies at the core of the region's conflict. Hundreds of Jewish activists had planned to go there in the morning but were ultimately stopped by police. Muslim worshippers had stayed at Al-Aqsa all night, ready, they said, to defend their mosque. The city's surging tension stems from several causes, among them the threatened eviction of several Palestinian families from their homes in East Jerusalem by Jewish settlers. That case is now on hold for several weeks after Israel governments intervened. But despite the growing international calls for calm, today has seen more fuel poured on an already volatile Minsk. Thank you.